Eagle Mountain Apostolic Resource Center. To find additional episodes of this program, as well as other content, visit eaglemountain.tv.
I have never, I'm going on record right now, I've never had a harebrained idea.
He's had lots of ideas that have hair on them.
Did you just say I've had lots of ideas with hair on them?
Yes. Okay.
Oh my goodness. What?
The devil?
I found him.
Why am I not surprised that he's in here?
He's over here in this bucket. There he is. Mr. Sin! Not bothering us anymore.
How are you doing there, Foxy?
Such a beef wit.
Do you know who you're talking to? I'm Mr. Sin. You can't talk to me like that. You don't have to be rude.
I said beef wit.
Beef wit, that's even worse. No, I'm not a fan of that, but I am a fan of finding out what you're doing after this show. Maybe we could go grab some drinks or something. What do you say?
No thanks.
Hey everyone, welcome to Together We Build. My name is Chris Behnke. I'm here with Prudence O'Hare, and I'm excited to get into this one. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And I'm starting off with this question. Are you ready, Prudence? Are you ready to answer this question?
Well, I don't know.
Who is someone you really admire? Someone you really admire. You cannot say Buckley. That's cheating. That's who I really admire, Buckley. He's a good boy.
Who is somebody I really admire? Couldn't you have asked me that a long time ago so I had some time to think about it?
Nope. These are opening questions for Together We Build. It says right on the top of my notes.
Okay.
Opening questions for Together We Build. Who is someone you really... It's not the person you admire most. Maybe this will help you. It doesn't have to be the person you admire most. It's just someone you really admire.
I think I admire people who,
Oh, we're going generic, are we?
well, that have built their business from the ground up.
You admire business people who started from nothing.
Yeah. And have made it to like a successful spot.
Who comes to mind?
I don't know off the top of my head. Can I have another question?
Yep. Let's go to the next one. We're just skipping the who you would admire. I admire Elon Musk. Okay, so that's who I'm tossing out there. I didn't say he's who I admire the most. It's just somebody that I toss out there. Okay, we're skipping to the next one. This isn't even our trivia, but I'm going to let you have one pass every once in a while. Okay, the next one is what is your earliest memory?
My earliest memory?
Your earliest memory.
Man, I don't know.
Well, then that's not the one. It's the one you do know, your earliest memory. Is it have to do with Rainbow Bright cereal or big wheels or what?
Well, one of the memories that I have is from when I was really little. I don't know. I suspect I was probably 3 or 4. But we had this glass sliding door, and my dad and me would sit at night. It was dark, and we would see reflections in the door, and of course it was us that we saw, but he would ask me, "What do you see out there?" And I would say, "Oh, there's monkeys.
Monkeys.
There's alligators out there."
Alligators.
There was monkeys and alligators out there. Anyway, he would always repeat the same question.
Yeah.
So eventually,
And you were
I
what,
was
16,
getting older.
17 by then? Or how old were you?
No. I knew that it was a game that we were playing, but he thought it was funny, and it was just something we would play. So
That's your earliest memory.
maybe.
That's rad. That's wonderful. All right. Let's keep moving. What do you got there?
Yeah, we're going to learn another word here today. 1,200 words you should know.
Yeah, drop one on us. Drop the word on us.
Are you familiar with the word denigrate?
Denigrate?
Yeah, it's an adjective.
Denigrate.
It actually means insulting, to put down, demean, or belittle.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Denigrate. Don't denigrate me.
Yeah. So it's kind of like centigrate, except for denigrate.
Wait, I don't know what centigrate is.
Disintegrate, I mean.
Oh, disintegrate.
Okay. All right. So here's a sample of how to use this. This is a quote by Henry Miller, who is an American author and painter. He says this: everything we shut our eyes to, everything we run away from, everything we deny, denigrate, or despise serves to defeat us in the end. What do you think about that?
I think you're
Their
dropping
word.
some knowledge bombs on us right now that people just cannot comprehend.
So when we insult, when we put down, demean, or belittle, we are denigrating something or denigrate.
Buckley does not approve of using that word.
Yeah, he never insults or puts down.
No, he doesn't. He's
So
definitely not like that. Okay, let's get into the trivia. We're losing. We got a long way to go and a little bit of time to get there. So let's move into the trivia. Are
okay.
you ready?
Yep.
I've got my button. I'm only putting the cheers button out. You know why? You know why I'm putting only the cheers button right here? Because I am so confident in your victorious answer to every question that I only need the cheers button.
Okay.
Are you going to let me down? Okay, here we go. What creature has a tongue that can measure the length of its body?
Probably the anteater.
The anteater. Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
I had to go get the no button.
No.
It's the chameleon.
Chameleon.
Yeah, the chameleon.
Does it actually ravel up like one of those
Look,
fruit roll-ups?
All I know is that in the cartoons, it does a fruit roll-up maneuver, and
Yeah.
it has to in order to get it, which is a little bit weird to me that it would actually be that long, but whatever. Okay, next trivia question. What is a group of parrots called? Nope.
Group of parrots.
Yeah, a group. You know, like a flock for geese. What about a group of parrots? What's that called?
Um.
Come on, you know this.
Okay.
I'm keeping the note button handy, though.
Newscasting group.
A newscasting group. It's a pandemonium.
Oh.
Pandemonium. That's a crazy pandemonium. I thought that was like craziness or something. Okay, next trivia question. Here we go. What type of farm animal can sunburn?
A pig?
A pig. Congratulations.
Well, I didn't actually know that. I guessed it.
What?
Guessed it
Because they have pink skin?
Yeah,
So they sunburn easily?
They don't have any like fur or hair to cover their body.
I thought pigs have hair, right?
No, they have little.
In the
special
cartoons,
hair.
they don't have hair.
They have little
But
special
in
hairs.
real life, they've definitely got hair.
No, well,
It's not like fur,
It's
but
not a boar. You're thinking of a boar.
I am.
Yeah, boars
This
in the
question's
wild.
a
They
bore.
might have pigs.
Let's move on. Okay, next trivia question. Last trivia question. What is a male duck called? Not one that's confused about
A
his
mallard?
gender. A male duck called. Is that your final answer?
No. I don't know.
A drake.
Oh,
drake.
man. I
Did
thought
you know
was
that?
A certain
Wait,
brand
did you know
of
that?
duck.
No, mallard is. Did you know?
Oh, yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah, you botched
Drake is a male duck.
botched that up.
Oh.
Hardcore. You hardcore botched
Yeah.
that. Okay, so enough trivia. I would say I'm going to start rating your. I'm going to start giving you a grade, and I would say that's a solid C+ trivia today.
I
Solid
would
C+.
say that's generous. It should probably be like an F.
I'm grading on a scale. Grading on a scale. You didn't get an F? Are you kidding me? We only had 4 questions. You got one of them right. So
so that would be a D.
and I mean, I think actually technically it would be an F, but we're gonna go with it. It's totally good. Okay, so this episode, we're digging into this episode, and I don't know if we're going to do this for all of these, but for the next 2 episodes, we're going to go after and kind of dig deeper into a couple of messages that Bobby Haaby, who's our senior leader at Eagle Mountain, has been giving. Now, he's going through a period of time in 2024, the year 2024, where we're unpacking some things that Eagle Mountain and the church at large are called to. And starting with kind of these 5 different areas. And so we're going to dig into a couple of those messages. They were absolutely fantastic. You can find the link to those in the show notes. So that'll take you over to Eagle Mountain TV. And I highly recommend that you actually take the time to go through those. So they're really, really applicable. Whether or not you're part of Eagle Mountain or not does not matter at all. Like, this is very universally important to the body of Christ right now. So I want to dig into those and we'll just get into it. Now, I think the best way, Prudence, what do you think? Maybe we should just watch some of these highlight videos and then we can go after that.
Yeah, let's watch a little something.
Okay, so I've got, for this first one, for this episode, we're going after one where we're really digging into the necessity and talking about discipleship. Don't press the keys, bro. Discipleship. And like I said, you find the link to the whole message that Bobby gave in the show notes. But this first clip that I have is a few minutes long. It's a little bit. So let's watch that clip and then we can comment on it. How's that sound?
I feel like anything that happens on the outside and all those who've prophesied that over us will be a reflection of what happens on the inside. And so there's a glory that's a kabod. It's a weighty glory. It's that outward Shekinah glory where you just see the tangible, feel the tangible presence of the Lord. And those are main words for glory that is tangible. The signs, the wonders, the miracles, the things that you observe on the outside. And then there's another glory that's often mentioned, and that's to God be glory in the church, both now and forever. And that glory is called doxa. It's the glory on the inside. It's a supernatural ability for God to transform you into his image. And that takes glory. That takes power. That's not just the glory on the outside, it's the glory on the inside. And unless we have both, we usually end up being super fanatical and having zero character. Like, we have a great anointing and no character to back it up if we don't focus on the glory on the inside and we just focus on the glory on the outside. If we have so much glory on the inside and we're full of character and image, but we need that signs and wonders component, the things that make you go, signs that make you wonder. Awe, wonder, and fascination. Like, we'll live in mystery for eternity. If you don't have that, then for those people who need to open their hearts for the things that they cannot explain, there is that. So God is bringing us to places of glory because that's why we're ascending. I mean, that's just the motive for ascending, is to come into the King of Glory. It's all about the King of Glory. And we'll get into that later on in Psalm 24. So these growth cues, it's what I call grow so you can glow. It's just like, it's got to shine in. Paul said it pleased the Lord to reveal himself in me, not just to me, but in me. And so we've got to grow so we can glow. I mean, that's just what's going to happen. Literally, there will be people that go, oh my goodness, what is it about you? What is it about you? I don't know what it is, but I need what you have in that awkward moment where they just go, what is it about you? And if you're not ready, you'll go, oh, well. Because it's an awkward thing to say, to answer, right? Well, you've come into my 6 feet atmosphere of amazingness, and you're experiencing the glory. But you'll have to come up with some version of the truth, because that's actually true. It just sounds weird, but it's actually true. It's God's presence on your life, and we don't want to apologize for that. Thinking small, living small, false humility hasn't worked for you anyway. And so we might as well step into the glory. We might as well understand that it's because we've said yes to the grow, we've also said yes to the glow. And when you say yes to the glow, you say yes to the go. And it just happens everywhere you go. It just pours out everywhere you go. And it just becomes normal Christianity. So we're going to spend a lot of time in discipleship. Our 5 main purposes as a ministry is discipleship, the great commission with Jesus, to be a resource. We are just a holy distribution center of the glory of God.
Man, I love where he went with that. And I love this one thing that he said: we need to balance the glory on the outside and the glory on the inside. I love that, because I think there's this pendulum swing, and Bobby talked about this more in the message actually, but there's this pendulum swing that's happened with the church that's like, all that matters is the inside. All that matters, we don't need to care about the outside. We don't need to care about the outside. And then it's kind of gone back over to where, no, really, like we need to be exhibiting, like we need to be doing works, kind of, works. And the reality is that we have to like have a balance of those. What did you think about that? Did that stand out to you?
Mm-hmm. So he said doxa means the glory on the inside, and Shekinah is the outside. And both are important. And the outside is where we get into the things we cannot explain, the signs and the wonders.
Right.
And everything else that goes with doing miracles and healings and such. You just can't explain.
Yeah.
So that would be the outside. And that your character matters a lot.
Yeah, it's interesting. He was talking about there's this thing that's happened, which I haven't experienced in ministry, but I have experienced in business, where people overlook bad character because like what the person can do.
Right.
So I haven't actually experienced that in ministry. I know there's tons of examples of famous people that, a lot of people kind of overlooked their sin, bad behavior, because they were like amazing. But in business, I have experienced this multiple times where someone, they were like even abusive to employees. And like, there's this one example in the past, many, many years ago, where someone worked for me. I had a project manager that worked for me, and this person was actually like abusive to the teams that they managed. And I went to fire this person on multiple occasions and was not allowed to fire this person because they were so good at other parts of their job. They were like amazing at it. They were brilliant. They were amazing at it. And to me, it was like, it doesn't matter how amazing they are, because they're actually abusive to these people. And that kind of creates this really rippling, horrible effect throughout the whole organization. In the culture of the organization, it became a very backstabbing, like bad kind of horrible culture, because this person was allowed to stay there. Now, I literally tried to fire them and actually wasn't allowed to. This was in a large publicly traded company. But I think that's really common, where it's like, well, we're going to overlook this really bad behavior because they're so smart, or they're so good, or they have such an incredible gift in the supernatural, or they're so prophetic. So we're just going to kind of excuse this. So I think, there's this tendency to let things go to this really horrible place because of what God has kind of given this person. And I don't think there's space for that anymore. Like, I think we're in a place where the world will see that and they'll call it out, and they're not cool with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that one thing that he said in this message, which we probably don't have a clip of, but
I do have 2 more short clips,
oh, okay.
but I don't know if they're what you're talking about.
Okay. Well, the other thing that he said was say yes to the grow, which is the consumption of learning.
Yeah. Yes.
Of just inhaling everything. And I think that that is definitely a part of building up the inside of us.
Yeah. The learning part. You're talking about the learning part. Yeah.
I think that a lot of us, and I speak to myself when I am talking about this, but we don't mind building up the inside of us, the glory inside. It's the outside that we are not really interested in doing. And I think there's, people that don't mind the outside part, but they don't really do much for the inside of them. Mm-hmm. Like they're not really stockpiling a lot of wisdom and new information and learning new levels of the Lord. They're just hung up on, let's just do a sign and a wonder, or look at all the works I can do, but they forget that part of it. So it's really important that we get both pieces nailed.
Oh yeah.
So when we say yes to the grow, we start building up the inside of us. Then we start saying yes to the glow, which is the outside of us. And then we say yes to the go.
So in other words, we have to learn and grow and develop, and then we can go.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think one of the things I think that just in Western culture we've overlooked a lot is that the word disciple actually means learner. And so we need to have a culture where we recognize there's always more to learn. So when you think about Jesus's ministry, he was a rabbi, which means teacher. So he comes in and he picks some learners, and then they do life together. Essentially, they dedicate 24/7 to learning. So it's thoroughly and completely a learning culture. And they go throughout their 3.5-year ministry, 3-year ministry, learning. It's almost like the first master's degree program. So they go through this environment learning. All that was necessary to equip them. At the same time, they were training on the job. So it wasn't that they weren't doing things. That was also part of the learning, but it was this purposeful environment where learning was required. And I think that a lot of times we don't spend enough time realizing that we should have this disciple mindset, and that there's always someone to learn from, and there's always someone to be teaching something to. And if we have a culture that's a disciple mindset, we're going to have opportunities to be learning and teaching. Mm-hmm. And without that, we're missing the model that Jesus set up as an example for us. Did you have another comment, or do you want to go to one of these? I have 2 other clips.
Well, when it comes to the Shekinah glory, the outside piece, he mentioned that we have to have open hearts to the things we can't explain.
Oof, yeah.
And, for my type of person, I'm very introverted and
cognitive,
very practical. I want to be able to explain things. And so this is a really hard piece for me to step into, is that I can't just explain away everything.
Right.
And I have really had to come to a point in my own self where I have to be okay with not being able to explain it.
So that's faith. That's the faith muscle you're talking about. Mm-hmm. So you're saying, as a very cognitive person, that is very difficult.
It is.
And but you're not dismissing it.
No.
So you recognize it's important, but in order to do it, it's like a big leap of faith.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So, I mean, I can self-discipline myself all day to go and learn and intake information. But when it comes to the things that can't be explained,
right,
that's where I have to jump into different places of faith.
Yeah, totally. Let's watch this next clip.
Okay.
We're connected to the Creator. Don't you think we ought to be the most creative people on the planet? And so just spending time going, what does that look like? What does creativity, hanging out with the Creator, look like?
So I love that he went to the creative part of this, because I think that one of the things I feel like happens is, and I don't think this happens so much in like charismatic streams, but in other streams of Christianity, I think what happens a lot is we want to remove the creativity out from the Lord and make it really like objective and cognitive, like what you were talking about.
Right.
And the truth is that God is infinitely creative.
Right. I mean, just look at all the miracles that Jesus did, or even
he didn't even do the same miracle the same way.
Oh no, he's constantly coming up with new ways. It's like there's just like this creative miracle generator up there somewhere. Okay, let's generate.
So for this one, you're gonna have to rub
doesn't
mud.
Make sense.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the reason that we want to remove creativity out is it's risky because it's not predictable. Mm-hmm. Just go to a modern art museum. That's like it's who dumped the bucket over accidentally and then put it up on the wall and said, this is art. Like art, that's not, I don't mean to dig on art, but I'm just saying like art is not predictable. So I shouldn't say art. Creativity is not predictable. Just in its nature, creativity is kind of like messy, and we don't like messy. You're very cognitive. You don't like messy, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, I do if I'm creating something though. Like I don't mind it.
But you're saying with the things that you feel like you need to know that have to do with eternity, you don't like messy.
Oh no.
Right?
Mm-mm. Nope.
I'm not saying, hey, it's time to create something.
A nice, tight little memo that's handed to me. Here is your
with bullets.
Here's your bullet points. Here is the boxes that you stay in, and you do this, and you're golden.
But what Bobby is saying here, and I think what the Lord is showing us through Scripture, is part of the mindset of discipleship is tied to the learning from the Lord in creativity and understanding that God is a creative God.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Expecting the unexpected when it comes to the Lord is not something I love to feel.
But let me ask you this, Prudence. If you this is a little bit of a weird turn on this, but if you were to look back at the last, let's just say 1 year, you can look back and, first let me ask you, can you look back and see the Lord's hand over and over and over and over again?
Yes.
Okay. Did he do the things that he did with you in your life this last year in a way that you would have predicted 1 year ago?
No.
So part of what I think we have to learn as a disciple and with a discipleship mindset is we have to learn to become comfortable with the creativity of the Lord in the way he delivers his promises, which isn't the best for a cognitive person. When I say isn't the best, it is the best. It's just not the most comfortable.
Right. No, it's not. It's not comfortable.
You got something more to say? Should I go to this last clip?
Yeah, go to the last.
Let's go to the last clip.
You have to create a headquarters of prayer in your house. And I don't care if it's a 10 by 10 and you're just doing this and you're just getting it on and you're proclaiming, speaking things that are not until it happens. The first thing I raised from the dead was a dog. Yeah, I got hit by a car and the lady brought it to me and it was her puppy and she was just like, puppies are like family. And she was screaming and crying and he had 0 heartbeat. I said, you come to life in the name of the Lord. As soon as I said that, I was like, can you do this with pets? It totally entered my mind. And I couldn't get done with the sentence early enough. All of a sudden, breath came back into that dog and got out of my arms and ran off. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I guess you can do that. All right, let's go practice on some roadkill. Let's go get on the parkway and do it. I'm pumped.
I guess you can do that with pets. That's good news in case you ever need a healing, Buckley. I think that's hilarious. I love that. I love that when we're thinking about discipleship, I also like that the way Bobby brought in the critical nature of prayer, and that relationship with the Lord has to start in a way where we are solely focused, because that's where the learning is going to come from the Lord. But then this is that whole inside and outside thing. Then we're taking that and we're actually putting action to it, which I feel like a lot of the time is absent in the church, the action side.
Right. Yeah. We like to, you don't have that clip, maybe next time.
What?
You have
Which
the
one?
clip of Chan.
Francis Chan?
Yeah.
Oh, I probably do have it.
It's probably for the next lesson, actually. But
Yes, that's for the next
I
one.
mean, yeah, we do. We like to sit around and talk about things that we should do or somebody else did, or especially somebody else did.
Yeah.
And how that might feel if by chance we ever got put into those shoes,
Yeah.
But I think that conversation needs to be moved to, I risked something. I did this. And this is how it went or felt, or what I'm risking now. Or, there needs to be like more conversation about what our actions are in relation to what we're learning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that I don't know why it is this way, but it just seems like with human nature is we like to learn and then compartmentalize and make a formula. And I don't actually think that's wrong to want to do that. Or
we get stuck pondering it.
We get
hung up on just thinking about it, and we just have a hard time transferring the idea that we ourselves should be maybe doing it.
Yeah. And
not just talking about how somebody else did it.
Right. Well, for sure. And I think that it's okay to want things to be clean and organized and to have a formula. But I think back to that thing we were talking about earlier, the reality is God is infinitely creative. So we need to get used to him. We need to get used to things not being formulaic, and also relationships aren't formulaic. So, for example, if I say to my kids when they're little, apologize to your sister, it's not really that powerful of an apology because it's not real. Now, I do think sometimes with little kids, you got to teach them this so that they begin to learn the importance of these kinds of things, but it's not like it's a real apology, right? So the sister doesn't feel like it's that genuine. It doesn't feel, but it's a lot different when they recognize and then they go apologize on their own. Why? Because it's a legitimate connection in the relationship. And that's really one of the reasons I think God doesn't like the formula, because he wants a real relationship. He doesn't give us a checklist because he doesn't want a checklist relationship, you know? So when we look through the lens of discipleship at that and begin to realize, okay, so how and why and in what ways and what does it look like to begin to have a mindset of a learner, of a disciple of the Lord? As I develop my relationship, how am I learning and how am I creating learning opportunities for the people around me as well?
So, one thing that Bobby had said was that disciples never stop learning.
Right.
And I think that is really important. And pairing it with the fact that there's going to be a lot of mystery when following God.
Yeah.
And we have to be okay with that. We have to be okay with the unknown. So we don't ever pull up the brakes on learning, ever, because he is infinite in the new things that he will bring to us to understand about who he is.
Yeah. Forever.
Forever.
And the Bible says that we will for eternity be.
And I'm not
learning
talking
new
about
things.
just like, who James's brother was or cousin or, these.
You mean the Bible, James?
Yeah, these just different things. We're talking about the mysteries of God that he says he will reveal to us.
Yeah.
And that is something we have to understand about God. We don't always get to cognitively lay it all out how it's supposed to be. And the plan goes this way, and this is how it's supposed to be, and supposed to be, and supposed to be. We got to stop with the supposed to be's.
Enough of the supposed to be's.
And I love supposed to be's.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
So help me understand that for a second. When you say we have to stop with the supposed to be's because we've kind of predefined and figured out what kind of nice box we think we want God to be in, or not even that. We're not even necessarily trying to put him in a box. We just think we understand the box that he is in.
Yeah.
And you're saying what? You're saying we need to purposefully make sure we don't do that?
Well, I think that, scripture says that man makes the plan and the Lord dictates the path that the plan goes, or maybe it doesn't even go that way.
Right.
We do have to have some strategy and some goal and direction of
Yeah,
where we're going,
100%.
but to get hung up on the supposed to be's basically takes away the idea that God is in control.
Totally.
It removes him out of the picture and puts us in control, which is fallacy in and of itself.
Totally.
But we like to sit there and dwell on it,
Yeah.
thinking that we are.
Yeah.
And we're not. And the sooner we can get past the idea that we actually are the ones the idea that we are the ones that set the supposed to be's.
Right. You're saying the sooner we understand that we were the ones that created all of the
Supposed to be's.
boundaries, and realize that it wasn't God, kind of going outside the boundaries. He didn't set those. We did them a lot of times inadvertently.
Yeah.
Like we don't realize we're even doing it, but sure enough, we are. The sooner we can kind of develop this mindset of learning. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. The mindset of learning that it never, ever, ever should stop. We must believe that.
So
That
there's
it
no
never gets to stop.
there's no double PhD and then there's no more.
That's right. That's right. You don't show up to retirement age and say, well, that's it. I'm done. We're done with working. We're done with serving. We're done with learning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nope.
And the sad
nope.
thing is that is actually the most common path.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it all the time. It's not just after with retirement. I think it's all the time. It's kind of like, I think what happens, I'm not sure. Okay. So I don't even know if this is true, but I think what happens is people kind of, when they're young in their Christianity, they see someone that knows a lot more than them. And they kind of go, okay, That's what I want to do. I want to learn like that person. And then they learn. And when they get to that person, if they don't have a mindset of learning, then they're like, okay, I have arrived. And then that's it.
We talk about our kids, we want our kids to surpass us in success and all of this sort of thing. But the thing that we need to believe about ourselves is that we need to keep moving, keep growing, keep learning so that they never catch us.
Yes. Bobby says this all the time. We need to have an attitude of catch me if you can.
Right.
Not, well, now it's your turn. Here's the baton. It's not that we don't pass batons when we're supposed to pass batons. It's that is not a way out of from being a disciple, which is learner. We need to always be thinking that way. Like the methodology which we approach life needs to be in that kind of way. That's what I hear you saying.
Yep. Exactly that.
Okay. Well, this was really good. Okay. So on this, like I mentioned at the beginning, we're going after and digging into some of these messages that Bobby Haaby, who is the senior leader of Eagle Mountain, gave. In the show notes, there's a link to that. You can find it right there. If it's not there for some reason, or if you're on a system where that doesn't show up because this is broadcasted in multiple places, then you're going to want to go to eaglemountain.global and you're going to click on messages. And this one was called something odd, so I got to look it up. Your personal trainer. So you find that on the Eagle Mountain website. Check it out. While you're at the Eagle Mountain website, what I want you to do is to click on the Eagle Mountain TV link, and then on there you'll see all of the other episodes and seasons of Together We Build, as well as other incredible programs. There's a whole bunch of amazing programs. You can find all of that there, as well as this really nifty little thing called the Give button. Prudence, tell them why they should click the Give button.
Well,
tell them what they've won. They actually haven't won anything, but
I don't think that it's any secret that doing productions like this costs money.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Nobody has hired us to do this.
It's hard work. And it's worth it. And we really feel strongly that the Lord has asked us to pour into this, but we would love it if you have been blessed by this to click the Give button, support what's happening here at Eagle Mountain and all the other programs that we're developing. This show is produced by Eagle Mountain TV, and it's hard to do. It takes a lot of effort and resources. So would love it if you'd support it. Also, take a second and share this out. Like if this has blessed you and somebody's popped into your head as somebody that needs to hear this message, share this message directly to them. We would love it. Subscribe to the podcast. This is available on Apple, Spotify, on the website, YouTube, all over the place. So definitely check it out. And you can learn more about our ministry at chrisandprudence.com. And we will see you guys on the next one. See you later.
Thank you for watching Together We Build with Chris and Prudence. To learn more about this and other amazing programs, visit eaglemountain.global. To learn more about Chris and Prudence and the ministries they serve, visit chrisandprudence.com.